Here, I'll come close to this. Here's you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Isaac, Mark.
Hi, this is your GSI again. So this is plant number 20. And this is coffee berry, Frangula californica in the Rhamnaceae. And this is a really nice plant that grows both in kind of oak forest in the shade and also in chaparral, which is kind of drier, shrubby habitat. This one is another one that has simple alternate leaves. These ones are kind of in a helical pattern. So that means that they kind of come off in a spiral. And in this one, the margins are somewhat bent down. But what's really good for identifying this plant, in my opinion, is that it's really dark green on top, and then it's really light green on the bottom. It has small serrations around the edge, and on the bottom, the veins are just really visible, and they have this distinctive pattern where they're pinnate, so they kind of come off the main vein in an alternate pattern, and then the tertiary veins kind of connect the secondary veins. They're kind of perpendicular. And they kind of loop back to the vein behind them even. So that's important for distinguishing them from other plants in this family and other simple alternate plants. So, and this is also one of those plants that's found in California, but it's also distributed outside of California, but not too far. It's it's found in some, desert environments. It's pretty rare too. California is kind of the core of the range. And one thing is that this is one of those plants that has a lot of variation. There's sometimes you'll see the leaves with, on the top, they'll be covered in these kind of silvery hairs. And those have been described as subspecies of varieties, but we're not going to force you to learn that in this class. In this case, the leaves are really dark green on top, but they don't have any kind of tomentum or silver hairs or anything like that. And they have fruits that are, kind of like a simple drupe, so they're kind of fleshy, and they have seeds inside, and they actually look like a coffee berry, which is where the plant gets its original, common name from. Is kind of a misconception. And this is another plant that has important medicinal qualities. The fruits are not really edible. They have been used in medicine as a laxative, so you don't want to eat them unless you came prepared with your own stash of toilet paper or something like that. But that is a form of medicine, but you don't want to snack on these. I think that's all I have to say about it. So I'll just summarize that this is coffee berry, Frangula californica. And sometimes, actually, I should mention that when you read in books about this, sometimes it's referred to as Rhamnaceae californica.
In the Trees and Shrubs book, for example.
Yeah, in the textbook for this class, it's under Rhamnaceae californica. And that's because, it had a recent name change. It has simple alternate leaves that are dark green on top and light green on bottom. And they have that distinctive, vein pattern where they loop back to the vein behind them. It's a tree or a shrub coffee berry.
Right. One thing I'll just add. Okay, go ahead. Okay, one thing I'll just add is that, like Isaac was saying, this is a very variable plant. And this one of our new friends that you might think of as a frenemy, because it can look so different in different places. Whether it's in the sun or in the shade, it will look very different. And also depending on the habitat and the soils that it's living in. So the underside of this plant can be light green, like Isaac said. Sometimes it's yellow. Sometimes it's covered with white hair. And it can be just very different in the way it looks. The leaf size also can be very different, and the thickness of the leaf can be very different. The shape, sometimes it's entire, and sometimes it has fine teeth. But the one thing that it always has is these prominent secondary veins are always present. And when I say prominent, you can feel them with your fingernail. And those prominent secondary veins always loop to the margin and connect to the next vein. And that's a great characteristic to remember this plant.